the 2023-24 fantasy season? I can't. This is Past the Rock.
Could one of y'all pass the gosh darn rock? Hey, yo, I'm trying, I ain't lying, and hosting this will be Brian.
Yeah.
Posting like Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
flying to see the pilot.
Yeah.
Hit the hezzy, we got Jesse, opinions get kinda messy. A fan of out of lefties, from football to racing jet skis. He go silly when he go deep, sheesh, is Zach Zeman. Teaming up with Jack, we stack the whole team, man. Pass the rock, don't stop the shot clock.
Woo.
Smack the slap shot, come on, now let's talk. Pass the, yo, partner, pass the rock. For real.
Boys, can you believe that we are already at the midway point of the season?
I feel like the first half of the season always flies by, and then the second half is like the slowest crawl ever to the finish line. I don't know what it is, but like this stretch is always just zooming past.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm happy that we're halfway through. I feel like my teams are in a lot better spots than they were like week 3 of the fantasy season. I got a team that started 0-3, now 4-3. So, we on the come up.
Yeah, we're past the midway point, honestly, of the fantasy season at this point. Most playoffs start week 14, 15, or maybe 15, 16. So this is it. I mean, I know a lot of trade deadlines are coming up. Lots of people making moves. I'm sure some moves went down in your leagues this morning or this past week. So lots to get to. One question. Who are you most looking forward to watching this weekend? Who has the best matchup on any of your teams, Jack?
Oh man, I got to think about that. I don't know if this is the best matchup per se, but I'm really excited to watch Jonathan Taylor just because he finally looked like himself again last week, and he's my RB1 on my dynasty team, and he has been. I drafted him as a rookie, and he's just been my dude since day one, and he's a Badger, so I'm excited to see him looking like himself again, and I think he's going to keep it rolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me personally, just looking at my own fantasy team, I got 2 Chiefs to watch out for going against Denver. That should be a fun one. But in terms of an intriguing matchup, I'm really interested in Travis Etienne Jr. going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a very good running back going against a very good run defense. I think it'll be a very interesting matchup to see how that works out. Jaguars offense is definitely, I think they're still a bit underrated, if anything, but Etienne has been cooking this season, so I'm excited to see that matchup.
Zach, I'm most excited for your boy, A.J. Brown. All right, let me just tell you something about A.J. Brown. The last time he faced the Washington Commanders, he had like 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. So
yes, sir.
Whatever he's bringing this week, I cannot wait to see what he's got in store. So
yeah,
I
honestly, right now, I need the Birds to win by like 25. Honestly, I need a 25-point Birds win to make up for their neighbors' shortcomings.
I don't even know. I don't think the Birds destroying the Commanders will make up for your sorrows.
No, they won't. I'm wearing a brand new black fitted Phillies hat in mourning of the Philadelphia Phillies season. But honestly, I don't know why. I kind of saw this coming. I'm not even going to lie. I saw this coming for 2 main reasons. First of all, Phillies have lost over 11,500 games in their history. That is by far the most by any professional sports league. Not one of them had been in Game 7 before. Of course, they need to find a new way to lose. Over 11,000 ways to lose. This is just one more. And secondly, Bryce Harper wore a 76ers jersey to Game 7. I knew it was over as soon as I saw that. It was over.
Oh my God!
Sixers don't know how to perform that late in the playoffs. I was like, it's going to carry over. We're losing this game. I don't even got. I already started mourning the season like 5 hours before the game even started. I was like, all right,
you're gonna retire like Mad Dog.
Are you retiring from the show?
Oh man.
Yeah,
it was just rough watch.
Jack, what were your thoughts on the game last night?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just impressed with Arizona. I sent out a tweet last night just like praising Arizona. Everyone's been doubting them the whole playoffs. They go out, they sweep the Brewers, they embarrass the 100-win Dodgers, and then they take the Phillies to 7 and then beat them. So it's time to stop doubting them. I mean, they're legit. They're a damn good team. Corbin Carroll's sick. Cal Marte is sick. And I mean, they're going to be heavy underdogs in the World Series again, but I don't think they should be counted out.
Yeah. Speaking of which, should we do some World Series predictions real quick?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I said they're going to be heavy underdogs, but I'm still not going to take them. I mean, I'd say it's probably Texas in 5 or 6, if I'm being honest. But I can't like really doubt Arizona. I mean, they've exceeded every expectation I've had of them. So I'll say Texas in 6.
So to me, Arizona at their best can compete with a lot of teams. But Arizona, if they're not playing at that absolute best, if just like one little thing goes wrong or the lineup isn't right, they are what they are. They're an 84-win team at the end of the day. And, all these teams overlook them. I don't think the Rangers are going to be overlooking them. I think they're going to, they've seen what happens when you overlook them. They've seen what happens when you doubt them. I think the Rangers should be able to mentally prepare for all that. They will capture their first World Series title in 63 years of existence. But I think it does go pretty deep, though, and the Diamondbacks put up a good fight. I'm going to say Rangers in 6. Lock it in now.
Yep.
I'm going to go Rangers in 7. Got to live for Game 7 of the World Series. I do think the Rangers are the better team. From what I've seen, they have the better bats, and they were putting up like huge scoring outputs in the ALCS. So if they can outscore the Astros, they can outscore the Diamondbacks. So Rangers in 7. But it'll be a good series.
Should be a very good series. I'm looking forward to it. Although I'll be honest, I'm not going to watch a lick of it.
Are you?
I'm not watching
it.
No, I'm not watching a lick of it. Honestly, I'm not watching any of it. I'm all in on the Eagles, and I'm kind of in on the Sixers. That's all I got.
All right. Well, that's enough baseball talk for one episode. We'll get into the real meat of today's show. We got Week 8 fantasy show. So again, we're at the halfway point of the season. Doesn't really matter what your record is right now, as long as you have at least one win. I would say the only way you're actually eliminated is if you're 0-7. And even at that point, you could still win out. If you can go 0-7, you can go 7-0. I know the math on that might not work.
I don't know if that works. Look, I'm
just saying, if you can lose 3 straight, you can also win 3 straight. Fantasy, it can go either way.
Okay, but if you're 0-7, there's probably no recovery.
Yeah. Look, if you're 0-7, you probably can't go 7-0.
Look, I'm just saying, there's a guy in my league who's 1-6. I don't think he has a real shot anymore. His team isn't even that bad. It's just that players just underperform consistently on his team. He's got Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, Devontae Adams, Marquise Brown, Calvin Ridley, the Cowboys defense, Najee Harris, C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert. Like
this guy probably left the draft thinking he was like headed for the championship.
Oh yeah, he did. He thought he was made. He thought he was a made man, and now I don't even want to trade with him. I don't want any of his players.
Yeah, it's like the guys who drafted like Devontae Adams round 1 and then got like Najee and all of those guys. It's just absolutely brutal. I will say I made the playoffs and made the championship one year after starting 3-7. That was the worst I'd ever done. So
wow,
it's possible. I would say if you're 1-6 right now, it's tough, but hey, I started 0-4 and now I'm 3-4. You just got to beat who's in front of you, take it week by week. There's a lot of bye weeks coming up, and bye weeks can make for some insane fantasy results. I won my matchup last week by 0.4 after some crazy bye week madness. So let's get into it this week. We're going to start off with big old Kirk O'Chains coming off a big win in primetime against Jack's very own San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. The lights were not too bright for Kirk. Primetime Kirk finally came to play. Jordan Addison looked like Randy Moss in like, seriously, he just, I don't know, Travarius Ward needed to take the bus home after that one. So, are you starting Kirk Cousins over? We're going to do this week in fantasy. So, do we have the match? I might need the matchups here.
You want me to put the matchups?
No, I got him. All right.
Thank you.
Are you starting Kirk Cousins over Sam Howell versus the Eagles?
Definitely starting Kirk Cousins.
Absolutely starting Big Kirko.
Baker Mayfield on Thursday Night Football versus the Bills.
Yeah, again, definitely starting Big Kirko.
Ugh, I am never a fan of starting any quarterback or any player on Thursday Night Football. Give me Kirk Cousins.
All right, Jared Goff versus the Raiders.
Oh man, I actually have this dilemma in real life. But I think right now I'm leaning Jared Goff. That Raiders matchup is too juicy.
Yeah, it's very tough. I mean, Kirk is projected a little bit more points, but I mean, with Goff and that offense going against a very weak Raiders defense, I like Goff's matchup a little bit more.
I think I would lean Goff as well, and this is a dilemma I have as well going on. But I would lean Goff for now. Joe Burrow versus the Niners.
Oh man, oh god, it feels so crummy to start Kirk over Joe Burrow, but like, it's the Niners. It's a brutal matchup. Joe hasn't really been himself this year. At the best of times, he's not the greatest fantasy quarterback. He's just consistent. I think I'm talking myself into Kirk.
I don't need to talk myself into Kirk. This is the Niners defense. Any quarterback is going to struggle against them and not have a great day in fantasy. So give me Kirk Cousins.
How many points did Kirk just get against the Niners this past week?
Anyone but Kirk. Kirk is just him.
How many points did he get? Was it over 20, Jack?
I'm not
21 points. 21 points.
Wow.
Honestly, that's probably the best outing any quarterback's had against him this year, and it would have been a lot. Would have been a lot lower if Various Ward could catch the ball.
To me, I just firmly believe that the Niners, despite what has happened over the past couple of weeks, they're still the best overall defense in the league. And just because they've lost 2 times doesn't really change it for me. Because it's not – look, defense doesn't always win the game. If your offense can't produce, that's also going to lose you the game.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't score that many points. And again, I don't know how many of those points, probably around 10 of those fantasy points for Kirk came on the bomb to Addison before half. So if that miracle of a play doesn't happen, it looks a lot better for the Niners and a lot worse for Kirk. All right, moving on. Dak Prescott. Wait, who are they playing? Dak Prescott versus the Rams.
It's going to be Kirk for me for sure. Dak has not been that good this year, and I don't think he's going to be any better.
Dak has not been good. The Cowboys' offense has not been good. Give me Kirk Cousins.
All right. Trevor Lawrence versus the Steelers.
Oh.
It was.
Oh, that's tough. I think I would slightly lean Kirk because of the matchup. I think Trevor, the Steelers are never easy for any quarterback. So I think I'll give the slight edge to Kirk.
I like it. Hyping up your own team. I respect it. Respect the narrative pushing. I'm going Kirk Cousins here. Steelers are a solid defense going against Trevor Lawrence. And the Packers have Jair Alexander, and that's pretty much it. I mean, no one else really stands out in my mind, whereas the Steelers are a bit tougher of a matchup. I do like this Jacksonville offense, but I think Kirk Cousins can get the edge for this week.
Brock Purdy versus the Bengals.
That's not easy. I think it's got to be Kirk, though. I think it's got to be Kirk, but the way that he's played, the matchup against Green Bay, I think is a really good matchup. I'm not a big fan of Green Bay's defense. And I think, I don't know, the Bengals defense gets too much crap. The Bengals defense is not that bad. It's at least league average. I think that Brock, he's due for a bounce back game, but if Debo is out again, it's going to be really tough to come by. I think it's got to be Kirk.
This is probably the closest matchup we've had throughout this entire thing. I think I'm going to lean Brock. I think I'm leaning Brock here. Both of these quarterbacks had like pretty solid starts to the season where Kirk's been a little bit up and down recently, but same with Brock Purdy. He's had 2 kind of down weeks. Cincinnati's defense that I don't value as a really great defense. I think this is a really good opportunity for Purdy to get his numbers back up. I'm not sure if McCaffrey's playing. I do think that affects this decision, but even without Christian McCaffrey, I think this is a pretty close one. So I'm gonna take Brock Purdy by like the slimmest of margins here.
Did McCaffrey get re-injured?
I don't think he got re-injured. I just forget if he's playing or not. If he's playing, this is Brock Purdy, no doubt.
He played through his injury on
Oh,
Monday.
all right. I'm stupid, but I'm
two touchdowns.
All right. Yeah, I didn't watch. I was watching the Phillies collapse.
Fair enough.
No, I'm gonna go with Brock Purdy with all those weapons at his disposal. I think he has the edge over Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, CMC actually, I think, had every single possible point for the Niners on Monday night. All right, CJ Stroud.
That's on me.
CJ Stroud versus the Panthers.
Oh man, I might go CJ. I love the matchup. Carolina's defense is terrible, might be the worst in the NFL. And Stroud's been really good this year, coming off the bye, well prepared. Yeah, it might be Stroud for me.
It's definitely Stroud for me. He's done really well this season. Definitely the best healthy rookie quarterback so far this year. Anthony Richardson probably a little bit better overall, in my opinion, but he's hurt. So it's CJ Stroud as the best rookie quarterback right now. He's going to throw some bombs to Nico Collins, Tank Dell, get Dalton Schultz involved. I'm excited to see this Texans offense have a little showcase against the Panthers. So give me CJ Stroud.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a while since we've talked about the Texans. I know they were on bye this past week, and then they had a tough matchup versus the Saints before. So been out of the spotlight a little, but I'm looking for CJ Stroud to get back. I think he has a huge game versus the worst team in the NFL. Number 1 versus number 2 pick should be a fun one, but I think that's Texans, by the way, great survivor pick this week. Texans all the way. All right, Tua versus the Patriots.
I mean, it's hard to bet against Tua when he has all those weapons that can just literally. Sometimes all it could take is one massive Tyreek bomb for Tua to have a better week than Kirk. So that's enticing, but the Patriots defense. I feel like Pat's Dolphins games are always kind of slugfests. It's never pretty. No, actually, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go with Tua. I can't bench Tua with the weapons that he has. And the Patriots have not been that great this year, even though they played much better last week. But I can't bet against Tua. I'm changing my mind.
Yeah, I think a big thing that's driving me to pick Tua here is that this is going to be a home game for the Dolphins. And I think they do overall just play better at home, as most teams obviously do. But having that home field advantage is definitely big, especially when it's starting to get colder up in New England. Instead, you just play in the warmth of Miami where, all these players are comfortable, and look, while the Patriots defense is still really good, definitely not the same dominant team that, we've seen in years past, definitely not the same skill that we've seen in years past. I think that I'm going to take Tua here. Nothing against Kirk Cousins. It's just that he's kind of undeniable with those weapons.
Outside of the Philadelphia game, Tua's worst game of the season was week 2 against the Patriots.
It was.
And only 1 touchdown. Tyreek Hill held to 40 yards in that game. Just take that in. He had 40 yards in that game, and he still has over 1,000 through 7 weeks,
That's
is just
crazy.
Unreal.
Did he actually break 1,000 against the Eagles? I didn't even know he did. Did he break 1,000?
I think he's close, if not.
Yeah, I think he's at 9 something.
I was about to say
he's at 902. He's at 902.
Okay, I was about to say because I was like I know we did a solid job against him, so I was like I heard that stat and I was like, okay, well I'll know if he gets it. But
solid job is in he still had 90 yards.
I know, but it's Tyreek Hill, so that's a solid job for any team.
AJ Brown isn't that far behind though. I don't think. I think he's at 830, and he also had that one game where he had literally one.
Also against the Patriots, week 1.
Yep.
Just saying, Patriots, we might not be that good, but we can shut down your team's number 1 receiver. However, it's not going to help that those 2 games we had Christian Gonzalez, and he's no longer playing.
Yeah.
So that's tough. Moving on, Justin Herbert versus the Bears.
Yeah, he's playing the Bears. That matchup is way too juicy. Honestly, if Herbert doesn't cook in this game, there's bigger problems. So it's got to be Herbert.
Look, this is Herbert easily, but man, am I worried about him. He's just not been performing the way that I'd want him to perform. Look, back-to-back weeks under 20 points, and I know that shouldn't be a major concern, but he threw 2 picks against Kansas City. He threw 1 pick against Dallas, and it's like, as the weeks have gone, these past 2 weeks have just gotten, he's just gotten lower and lower. And it's like, man, I hope this is a bounce back week. This should be a bounce back week for Justin Herbert. But if it's not, we have some real concerns about Justin Herbert as a fantasy viable player. I expect Justin Herbert to put up like 30. And if he doesn't, I might be a little concerned.
Yeah, 4 picks in the last 3 weeks. Justin Herbert, I've been burned by him before. You draft him thinking he's going to be the number 4 quarterback in fantasy, and then dude's just awful. I mean, he's had one great game this season, 400 yards and 3 touchdowns versus the Vikings in week 3. And then the last 3 weeks, 160 yards, 230 and 260. So
I
not
remember,
the numbers we're looking for.
I just remember going into the season, like for fantasy drafts, he was my QB7 in fantasy. And right now he is ranked 7th, but I expected like, okay, he'll be consistently solid, but he won't be like over the top great. No, now he's like, he was consistently solid, and now he's starting to become inconsistent, and it's like, it's kind of scary. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, let's move into the top 4. All right, we got 4 names left. I don't know if these are actually going to even be close, but we'll still go through. Josh Allen versus the Buccaneers on Thursday night.
I mean, Josh Allen has those days where he's throwing the ball wildly and he ends up with 3 interceptions because he's throwing into triple coverage. So that might scare you off a little bit, but you have to take Allen for the off chance that he has one of those explosive days, because Josh Allen at his absolute best is the best quarterback in the NFL. At his worst, he's terrible. But when he's at his best, he's unstoppable, and I think you have to take that gamble because of what it could be.
Probably the most polarizing superstar in the NFL today. He is ranked number 1 in PPR as a quarterback. He's the number 1 ranked quarterback. This is easily Josh Allen, but man, another quarterback where you feel like it could just all go wrong 1 week and just screw you over.
That was a lot of people the last 2 weeks. And the bad news for the Bills is they play another bad team this week. And we all know that Josh Allen plays down to his level of competition. So Baker Mayfield might be a better start this week. Obviously, I'm joking. Josh Allen is the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. On any given week, you have to start him. All right, Jalen Hurts versus the Commies.
Hurts has been up and down this year, but it's also, I think it's a similar thing that I was saying about Josh Allen, is that you have to take the chance that he has an up week, because if he does, that could be a game-winning matchup. So got to be Jalen Hurts, but a little more consistency from him would be nice.
So weirdly enough, outside of week 1 with that New England stinker, you could argue that he's been pretty consistent around, from his floor being 19 to his highest being 27. That's not too much of a wiggle room. Look, 20 points for your fantasy quarterback is pretty much what you expect and what you want from a guy. So I don't think this is even a question. This is Jalen Hurts. We know he's playing through injury, and he's still dropping decent numbers in fantasy. I'm more than satisfied starting Jalen Hurts.
And also the tush-push upside's too good. I forgot to mention that.
Tush-push upside is massive for rushing touchdowns. Massive upside.
Dude, he has 6 rushing touchdowns on the season. That's more than 95% of the running backs in the league right now. The best thing about Jalen Hurts is that the Philadelphia Eagles just refuse to not sneak it. I don't know how they get into 4th and 1 or 4th and goal or first, second, or 3rd and goal on the 1. Does not matter. It's getting tush push. You can't stop it. You can only hope to contain it, but you cannot stop it.
The only thing about that play is that now the refs are calling the wrong people offsides, because you look at the huddle, they think that Jason Kelsey's hand isn't his hand, and they're like, oh well, let's just ignore the defense's hands, and the hands will be on the other side of the ball.
Yeah,
but
Warner.
But then there's a penalty, and then they just do it again, and it doesn't matter, and they get the first down. Doesn't really matter.
Fred Warner did his best Troy Polamalu impression when the Vikings tried to run the tush push this past weekend.
That was awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I would love to see someone try that against the Eagles and see how it goes. I would love
that. Was awesome. That was really cool.
I also saw the Eagles lined up Devontae Smith on the offensive line for one of them, and he just like acted like he was gonna block, but
Dude, he ain't doing nothing.
He ain't doing nothing.
Small.
Yeah, you got to go Jalen Hurts, especially the Commanders was the only game since week 1 that he hasn't thrown a pick, their last game. So hope that he cleans up those mistakes. He's got 5 interceptions in the last like 4 weeks. It's not been great. So those have been hurting, but you know, the tush push and everything else about the Eagles, you always got to start them. Last 2, these aren't even a question really. Lamar Jackson going against who's he going against? The Cardinals. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, Lamar is my MVP right now, and I am not benching him for anyone.
Wow.
Lamar is not my MVP, but I agree. I'm not benching Lamar for anyone.
I think
except for this other guy. I'm probably benching him for this guy.
Lamar Jackson versus Arizona might outscore Lamar Jackson's score of last week versus the Lions, in which he had almost 35 fantasy points. So I honestly might go out on a limb here and say that Lamar's been the best quarterback drafted in fantasy this year, just because Mahomes has been up and down, Josh Allen's been up and down, Jalen Hurts has been good, but hasn't had those huge ceiling games. Lamar has had some down weeks. He had 10 points against the Steelers, like 8 points week 1, but outside of that, like high 20s. He's cracked 30 a few times as well. Also, depending how your league scores things. So I think he's got the same rushing upside as Jalen Hurts, and he's got even a little more passing upside. So yeah, Lamar Jackson has to be started every week, no matter what. Last one, Patrick Mahomes going against the Denver Broncos.
I am totally starting Kirk Cousins over Patrick Mahomes. That sounds like a wonderful idea. No, like I don't know why we're even talking about this. And against Denver, I mean, Mahomes is going to roll all over them.
He didn't really roll all over them 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so that's even more reason for him to do it this time.
God, my internet just decided to stop working for a second. That was lovely.
Well,
I'm going to
Mahomes. Much.
I know. I'm lucky. I'm taking Mahomes here, obviously. He's playing against Denver, and he owns the Broncos. He owns every team in his division. This is easily Patrick Mahomes.
All right. Well, that concludes that. It seems like, Kirk Cousins is right around the QB8, QB9 this week, maybe. So he should be getting started in pretty much every league, unless you're in a 4-man league with your buddies. So I would say Kirk Cousins, you should feel pretty good about firing him up this week. The Packers defense against quarterbacks has been all right this season. But, I think the Vikings are moving well. They're 3-4. If they win this week, they're back to 500. Crazy, because we were talking about them as a team that could be trading Justin Jefferson and tanking, and trading Kirk Cousins and going for Caleb Williams. And now they're 1 win against the weak Packers from being 500 in the NFC and right back into the playoff mix. Because I think being 500 in the NFC is enough for a wild card spot. So it should be pretty easy for the Vikings going forward. I think their schedule, when we talked about all those teams that were 0-2, 0-3, their schedule, I think, was the best out of anyone for the rest of the season. So looking good for the Vikings, man. Looking good. All right.
Hey, quick little thing. The thank you fans graphic dropped.
Graphic dropped.
Thank you fans. Thank you fans.
How does it feel when the final graphic drops? Final 5-2.
The Phillies don't have a final graphic. They just tweet out the score in a little tweet.
Yeah,
must really hurt for whoever their social media guy is.
Yeah, they don't even have a final graphic. They don't even have a graphic. They don't do a graphic. Sixers do a graphic. Eagles do a graphic. Not the Phillies.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you, fans. They don't really care. All right, let's move on. We got Mench or Bench this week. So who would you rather start? Joe Mixon at San Francisco, Deontay Foreman at the Chargers, or Isaiah Pacheco at Denver? Zach, you first.
Oh, I am all over Isaiah Pacheco at Denver. I think that is clearly the best matchup here. And at the same time, we're talking about an RB2, and Pacheco, who's a borderline RB1, if not solidly an RB1. I think this is a no-brainer. I think this is an absolute no-brainer. This is obviously Pacheco with the best matchup of the week.
You are tripping if you think Pacheco is a solid RB1. But
In
that
fantasy, he
aside,
is. In fantasy, he is, dude. In fantasy,
absolutely
he
not.
is.
Absolutely
He
not. But
is.
that aside, that is still my
You're
pick here.
telling me the fantasy RB8 so far this year is not a solidified RB1.
He's really the
just
RB8.
That's actually pretty wild. But he's just
RB8 in fantasy, and you're telling me he isn't solidified. Come
he
on,
doesn't
dude.
have the explosiveness of an RB1. He doesn't have those big blow up games.
Doesn't matter. He's getting the points.
Okay.
He's getting more points than Mixon.
Sure.
I can tell you that for sure.
I mean, yeah, Mixon hasn't been that good.
He's had 9, 8, 16, 27, 13, 16, 16. So 8 being his lowest score puts him above a lot of running backs already.
Yeah,
it does.
That is true. He has been pretty good. He has been pretty good.
Over the last 3 weeks in PPR, 13, 15, 16. That is pretty much as consistent as it gets over the last 3 weeks. The week before was 25.
And he gets Denver, number one matchup against Denver this week, and a lot. The rest of his schedule.
Last time he played Denver, he got 15 points. I expect around the same. That is fantastic value.
Yeah, the rest of his schedule outside of Philly is green grass, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I am target right now.
Yeah, but yeah, probably. I am still going to pick him here, even though I was just crapping on him. But I mean, Deontay Foreman cooked last week. He was awesome.
He did.
And God knows the Chargers can't stop the run. So, if he is still the RB1, if Roschon Johnson's out again, or Khalil Herbert or whatever, if Foreman's getting RB1 touches, he's gonna have a huge game again, I think. But it's got to be Pacheco.
Roschon Johnson returned to practice today, by the way.
It's Jover.
Which is interesting.
It's over.
However, Deontay Foreman looked like Marshawn Lynch last week. I don't know how you can bench a guy I don't know how he was a healthy scratch in the first place. He had some really big games on the Panthers last year, and I don't know why they don't start him personally. I know Khalil Herbert's good, but Deontay Foreman is to me, he's the type of running back you want. He runs hard, great for power run, smash mouth football like the Bear. Khalil Herbert is this agility back that's just he's fast, but it's not really the type of running that you want to complement Justin Fields with. All right, we got receivers next. Jack, coming to you. DJ Moore at the Chargers, Zay Flowers at Arizona, or Jordan Addison at Green Bay?
Man, okay. All right. DJ Moore, we've talked about a lot on this show. He's had his big blow-up games. He's been relatively consistent this year in comparison to years past. Zay Flowers has been the model of consistency this year. I swear he gets between 13 and 17 every single week. And he's got a good matchup against Arizona this week, so that's tempting. But I think the pick has to be Jordan Addison. I mean, Jordan Addison was like baby Randy Moss, literally in this past week against San Francisco. And now he's going up a Packers defense that could potentially not have brain fart, Jair Alexander in that game. But even if they do have Jair, with the way that Addison has played lately, and just the Packers defense generally not being that great, I think it has to be Addison.
Yeah, this is tough. I'm torn between DJ Moore and Jordan Addison. This feels like I don't even know if it's Justin Fields or Tyson Badgett starting. I'd rather Badgett at this point, anyways. Regardless, the Chargers secondary scares me a little bit. I mean, they have some great guys like Asante Samuel Jr. back there who can make a difference in a game, especially for two quarterbacks who, let's be honest, are inexperienced no matter which one's playing. So as much as I want to say DJ Moore, I'm probably going to go with Jordan Addison here. He actually has the most touchdown passes caught in the league, apparently, out of all receivers. So I expect him to get a touchdown. I expect him to have a solid game. And, I feel like I have a better idea of what I'm getting out of Addison than I do with DJ Moore. I know we talk about DJ Moore as being somewhat consistent this year, but I'm still not completely sold on him. And I'm going to be starting him, so I'm along for the ride this week. So we'll see. Yeah,
he's second. He's right. Tyreek has 7. He has 6 receiving touchdowns, which
very
is
close. Yeah,
pretty crazy. I'd not even realized that. Wow. And 2 of those came this past week, but 4 of those with Justin Jefferson and everyone else in the mix. So shout out Jordan Addison. All right, Zach, coming back at you. Jalen Waddle versus New England, Brandon Ayuk versus Cincinnati, or Mike Evans at Buffalo?
Ooh. So that's three very solid matchups for various reasons. I'd say, Jalen Waddle, part of that explosive Dolphins offense, they can go off at any time. Brandon Ayuk, in that San Francisco offense, that can go off at any time. And then you have Mike Evans, the clear number one guy as well. But Buffalo's defense is a bit tougher to go against. I know Buffalo, I'm going to go with Mike Evans because I know Buffalo's defense has been dealing with a few injuries. It's hard to really pick one guy out of these. I like all three of them for various reasons, but just because he's the number one guy on that offensive unit at wideout, I'm going to go Mike Evans. He should get the most opportunities, should get the most targets. So I like him the most out of the three.
Yeah. For me, oh man, yeah, these are all kind of difficult. Jalen Waddle's matchup is tough. But I don't know. The Dolphins Patriots games are so weird. I like to stay away for the most part. Ayuk is a solid option if Debo's out again, so that's definitely got to be up there. But I think Mike Evans is probably the best pick. He's just the most consistent out of all these guys. He's been pretty consistently solid this year, generally speaking. And obviously Buffalo secondary has had a few losses this year. Obviously, Tre'Davious White going down earlier in the season, so it makes Evans' life a little bit easier in this game. And I think overall he's the best option here.
I don't know. I feel like this is easily Brandon Ayuk, although maybe that's because I haven't had that much of Brandon Ayuk, so I haven't been feeling the pain of him letting you down the last 3 weeks. And he's only been in the end zone in one game this season. He scored twice in that game, but out of every other game, he has not scored a touchdown. So I feel the pain there with CMC scoring in 16 straight games and Brandon Ayuk can't even get a penny. But I'm going Brandon Ayuk here because I don't think that the Patriots is a great matchup, and I think he has more of a target share than Mike Evans at this point. And if Debo is out, that helps a lot. If Debo's in, maybe you run Mike Evans. Mike Evans is also on Thursday night, so it's a short week there. All right, last one, Jack. Jared Goff versus Las Vegas, CJ Stroud at Carolina, or Brock Purdy versus Cincinnati?
Oh man, it's either Goff or Stroud for me. I'm already ruling out Purdy.
Yep.
But I think it's gonna be Goff. The Raiders defense is so bad. I mean, they let up 30 to Tyson Bagent. That might be enough said already. I think Jared Goff is going to cook this week, and the Lions are due for a bounce back. Last week was brutal. So I think I'll roll with Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm. I'm in the same boat. It's got to be Goff or Stroud, but you know what? Let's play a little devil's advocate. I'll go with CJ Stroud here. I think this could be a really big week for him. Kind of just a showcase for the Texans. Be like, hey, the Texans are actually kind of solid this year. CJ Stroud is actually kind of the real deal. He's going to prove it against a not great Carolina defense this week. I think he has a massive game. Even though I also think that Goff will have a big game against the Raiders defense, we kind of expect that more. I think Stroud will be head and shoulders above a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL this week going against the Carolina Panthers.
I'd have to agree. I think it's definitely CJ Stroud. I like Jared Goff too, but if David Montgomery's back in this game, I think they might just pound the rock all game, and Jared Goff might not get as much through the air because we know the Raiders cannot stop the run. They had 3 touchdowns put on their head last week by Deontay Foreman, so might be a big game on the ground for the Lions. They should be leading this game, no problem. So I think CJ Stroud though is going to be slinging it, and I like him in this matchup versus the Panthers. All right, we're going to move on. Who is your unsung hero of the fantasy season? Who deserves more love this year in fantasy? I'm going to give a few honorable mentions first. We got Michael Thomas being oddly consistent, somewhere between 8 and 12 points every week. No more, no less, but you kind of know what you're getting from him. 5 catches for 50 yards. He scored his first touchdown last week. So shout out Michael Thomas. Not the Michael Thomas we used to know, but he's staying on the field. And with Chris Olave getting arrested, he might get an elevated role. DJ Moore, also somebody who is usually one of the most inconsistent plays in fantasy, has gone over 10 every single week except for week 1. He obviously had that 150 bomb, but we're not expecting 50 every week. If DJ Moore can get you somewhere between 10 and 15 every week, and he still had a decent game without Justin Fields, so shout out to DJ Moore. We got DeAndre Swift of the Eagles. All right. DeAndre Swift, I think, fell to at least the 6th round in most fantasy drafts this year, like comfortably. And for anybody who went 0 RB, he's probably your hero of your fantasy team this year. Lock and load, set and forget RB1. Kenneth Gainwell coming back does make it a little muddier, but DeAndre Swift, for the most part, has just been super consistent, 10, 15 points every week. He's getting a ton of carries. He gets a decent amount of receptions as well. The tush push is his worst enemy in fantasy, but he gets his too. And lastly, Zay Flowers, man. Shout out the rookie, drafted most leagues like 8th, 9th, 10th round. He's been, I know Puka Nacua has set all these records for rookie receivers, but Zay Flowers is getting healthily 8 to 10 targets every single week. And is just absolutely electric when he gets the ball. He scored his first touchdown of his career last week. So with those out the way, Jack, who is your hero of the 2023 fantasy season?
My guy is Alvin Kamara. Everyone who took Alvin Kamara in their drafts this year, they took him in like the 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th round, maybe. So waited out those first 3 weeks, and then he came in, and ever since then, he has been so good for absolutely no reason. Like if you better have him in PPR, because if you don't have him in PPR, he's probably not that good for you. But if you're playing PPR and you have Alvin Kamara, this guy has dropped. I think his lowest game was 17. And I think his best, he had like a 29-point game, a 21-point game. I mean, he's been consistently an RB1 in PPR just because he's getting literally 10 targets a game for some reason. I can't tell you why, but the guy is unbelievable in PPR and people aren't talking about it enough.
39 targets in 4 games for Alvin Kamara. And let me just say, I'm with you, Jack. In my main league, and that's PPR, I have not lost a game since Alvin Kamara came back.
Yes, same here.
I've been 4-0 since he came back, and that's because I don't have to start Miles freaking Sanders or Gus Edwards anymore as my RB2. So Alvin Kamara has definitely been, I think, such a huge help for everybody. Anyone who survived the first 3 weeks, and even if you didn't, if you went 0-3, you could have won 4 straight right now, and you're sitting pretty, and he has an amazing schedule going forward.
Kamara legitimately saved my season.
Kamara saved my life.
Look, yes, Kamara actually saved my life. He actually cured my grandma's cancer. He's just that great of a guy. No, but seriously, Alvin Kamara is like my number 2 guy. I wanted to mention someone other than Alvin Kamara, but how I got Alvin Kamara is so stupid. But ever since I've got him, I started, like Jesse said, I started 0-3 in fantasy. Then I was able to get Alvin Kamara, and I've been 4-0 since. I got him because I made a trade with a guy for Jalen Waddle, and he dropped Alvin Kamara. No one else in my league noticed, and I picked him up off of waivers. Absolute fleece. Disgusting. This is my money league, people. This is my money league.
Zach is playing in a league with a bunch of kindergartners.
Look, all I'm saying, I'm going to try to go back-to-back as our fantasy champion. I won last year. I'm going to win again, and it will be because of Alvin Kamara and my unsung hero, who I drafted in the 8th round of our draft. I drafted Isaiah Pacheco, and he has exceeded all of my expectations. I expected Pacheco to be a guy that I would put in every now and then, RB3 type of guy, maybe has some RB2 upside. He has been a clear-cut RB1 in fantasy this year. He's a top 10 running back when it comes to PPR scoring. He's put up consistently around 13, 15. He averages 14.7 points this year, and that's a lot more than you can say for a lot of running backs. So I have been very impressed by Pacheco. He is part of a 3-headed monster I have at RB in my main money league, which is Kamara, Pacheco, and Travis Etienne. Absolutely love how Pacheco's been doing for me. He is my unsung hero for sure.
I'm gonna take us home here. My unsung hero is Marquise Hollywood Brown, and he had a rough week the last 1 or 2 weeks, but before that he had 4 straight games of 17 points and just been super consistent. A lock-in wide receiver 3 or 4 for your flex position pretty much every week. He's getting a ton of targets, and with Kyler Murray set to come back in about 2 weeks, hopefully, I think his stock is only going up. Zach Ertz also placed on injured reserve with James Conner out. there's just a lot of guys not playing on that offense, and Kyler Murray coming back, I think he's going to have a big back half to the season. So Marquise Brown, a guy who I took in the 8th or 9th round of just like, let's see what happens, and he's just been honestly very reliable every week of PPR this year. So shout out Marquise Brown. He's my unsung hero. Jack looked like he was doubting me while I was saying that.
No, I wasn't. No, I like Marquise Brown.
You looked like you were mulling it over.
I like him more than I like Pacheco. No, I like him more than I like Pacheco, but that's a different.
All right, Jack.
To be fair, I'm still super low on DJ Moore, and I'm starting him. So it's like I get it.
Yeah,
every now and then, there's just a player or two that you just do not trust. You just do not trust them at all.
Yeah.
And for you, that's Pacheco. For me, that's DJ Moore. I just can't trust him, and I want him. We're all saying, oh, he puts up like 10 points a game. I want 15. Damn it. All right,
Zach,
greedy.
Take us home.
Enough rambling. Yes. All right. Time for a segment we did last week. Guess the NFL team based on their fantasy points per game. All right. This is again PPR. Team 1, quarterback 21 points, running back 8.8, wide receiver 1 12.9, wide receiver 2 7.3, tight end 15.6, kicker 8 points, and defense 10.4.
I have a guess.
Go ahead.
I have a guess. I think it might be the Baltimore Ravens. I see Lamar could totally have 21. A low-scoring running back would make sense. 12.9 feels about right for Zay Flowers. Their second receiver is nothing special. Mark Andrews has been great. 15 could be about right. And then kicker and defense seem to add up.
Yeah, I think this has to be the Ravens. The only teams that have the tight end is what gives it away. 15 points per game for the tight end is the only thing that can really fit. Only a few teams can fit 15 points per game with their tight end. It's the Chiefs, but we know that Isaiah Pacheco is doing better than 8.8. It could be the Chiefs if that number for the running back was a little bit higher because they also don't have like a super stud receiver. The only other teams with the tight end that's doing that well, you could consider the Vikings with TJ Hawkinson. That feels high.
Maybe the Lions.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think the Lions running back is higher. The Vikings could be because Madison and Cam Akers both don't average that high points. And if what the wide receiver 1 now is considered Jordan Addison, that could be 12.9 for Jordan Addison. But there's no way that the Vikings defense is averaging 10 points. So I also agree that I think this is the Ravens.
Yes, this is the Baltimore Ravens. Good job. You guys got it right away.
Yeah.
All right. Team 2. Quarterback 15.2, running back 19.7, wide receiver 1 14.7, wide receiver 2 11 points, tight end 10.8, kicker 9.4, and defense special teams 8 points.
Ooh, this has to be a good team. I mean, like just looking at the numbers across the board, I mean, all these guys look like they're having solid seasons.
So I have a guess. Now, last week I was positive that one of these teams was the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think this is the Jaguars because I think Travis Etienne is the RB3. You have to be at least in the top 5 to be averaging close to 20 points a game. The only thing that's tripping me up is Calvin Ridley is definitely not averaging 15 points per game unless that's Christian Kirk, who's actually been having a better season than Calvin Ridley, and honestly might be the wide receiver 1. The tight end, I feel like Engram is healthily around 10 points, so I'm going to lock in the Jaguars.
I like your thought process. My only holdup is I'm not sure Calvin Ridley's averaging 11. he might be even worse than
that. Yeah, he might be.
Great. So then what's your guess, Jack?
So, I can't think of anything I like better though.
Just what other teams have a running back that's that good?
Yeah, right. That's what it is. I mean, Seattle, but no, they don't have a tight end that's averaging 10.
Yeah, I don't think no offense, not like that.
Yeah, they don't have a tight end that's that good. What other running back could that be?
Is there any way that could be the Saints? And it's like that's Olave, Michael Thomas, Kamara, But
it's the
Yeah,
tight
it's
end.
tight end.
Taysom Hill had like 2 huge weeks last week.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Taysom Hill's average could be around 11 points now.
And I honestly, I don't think Derek Carr is averaging 15. I think Derek Carr is worse than that. I can't think of anyone I like better than the Jaguars. And honestly, the high kicker number makes me feel better about that because I know McManus has been really, really good. So I think the Jaguars are a good guess.
This is the Jaguars. And Jesse, your analysis was on point. Wide receiver 1 is Christian Kirk. Wide receiver 2 is Calvin Ridley. You hit the nail on the head.
Christian Kirk, I actually think might be better than Calvin Ridley. Like I
mean, he has been undisputed.
Statistically, he has. But I remember Tyreek Hill last year said that Christian Kirk was in his top 5 wide receivers, and Shannon Sharp went like insane off that take.
Wow.
And obviously it's a hot take, but Christian Kirk has like steady been 1,000 yards a season, like easily can put up 100-yard games. So, man, shout out Christian Kirk. That's awesome.
All right.
15 points a game. Wow.
I know. It's crazy. All right. Finally, we have team 3. Quarterback, 12 points. Running back, 13.5 points. Wide receiver 1, 17.6. Wide receiver 2, 16.7. Tight end, 3.6. Kicker, 5.9. And defense special teams, 4.6.
What the hell
is this?
What the hell?
What the I don't. Oh! I have it. I think I have it. This is the Raiders. I think
this is the Raiders
because it would make sense. A quarterback that isn't playing that great. 13.5 could be Josh Jacobs. Devontae Adams, obviously one of the receivers. Jacoby Meyer has been sick this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he was that high. And then tight end, there's no tight end producing there. And kicker and defense have been terrible too. I don't know who else it could be. I think it's the Raiders.
Huh. I think has Michael Mayer not been better than 3 points per game though?
I don't know. They literally didn't give him the ball until like 2 weeks ago. So even though he's had a couple games lately that are better than that, I think he literally had like zeros for the first like 4 weeks. So that would definitely bring down his average.
Jesse, you want to put in a different team, different guess?
I will put in a different team and different guess. Now, the thing that's tripping me up is what team has 2 receivers averaging that many? Oh, wait a sec. Okay, I don't know. Okay, the kicker's throwing me off because their kicker just got released from the one I'm thinking of. I was thinking this might be the Rams. I was thinking it might be Puka and Cooper Kupp, and then Kyron Williams, Matt Stafford. I don't think Tyler Higbee's done really anything this season, so it definitely could be. It could be him. I'm gonna put in the Rams. I think it might be the Rams.
I don't think so because first of all, where is he getting the kicker points from if it's the Rams? But even if it's Maher actually in fantasy had a pretty good season.
No, he has. So, he was averaging like almost 10 points a game, but after his pretty poor outing this past week, and I don't know. I mean, it probably is the Raiders, but I just want to be different, so I'm gonna say it's the Rams.
Yeah, there's no way it's the Rams.
Okay, well, this is the Raiders. Good job. And I just want you guys to guess who is the wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. Which 2 are they?
There's no way Myers is averaging more than Tay.
He might because he's played less games, and Devontae Adams has had 3 like bad games. Wow. Is it Jacoby Myers the wide receiver 1?
Wow.
Myers is the wide receiver 1.
Wow.
Myers is averaging 17.6. And Devontae Adams is averaging 16.7 in PPR scoring.
Man,
I believe.
That's insane.
Myers has 5 touchdowns on the year. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's been insane this year. He's had 1 game with less than 15.
Can't believe
you guys absolutely knocked this out of the park once again. You guys were killing this. I don't know if I should keep doing it. You guys are just too good at
it. What can I say? Big brain.
All right,
good stuff, Zach. I think I'm echoing. The thing that makes it a little easy is that I think specifically with two of these you did. Oh, where am I echoing from? The Mark Andrews one and the Travis Kelce one gave him away both times, I think.
That's true.
Like the ones with like bad tight end numbers are harder to figure out. When there's a tight end over 10, it kind of narrows it down instantly to like 4 teams because that's just how bad the tight ends are this year.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, it's a lot of it is deciding: do I want to put a player on IR as the number, or do I want to just do what it currently is? And I did what it currently is, and that like I was going to do some teams that had like players who, their average is high, but they're injured right now. So
I think that would be acceptable. Might make it a little hard.
Might make it a little harder. Okay, maybe next week we'll do that.
All right. Well, let's finish off today's show with our favorite. So let me get this set up right quick. Let's play NFL. Oh, all right. Let's play NFL Connections. Jack, what's the theme of the day?
There's not really a particular theme. It's just NFL Connections, man. It's a classic me Connections.
All right.
All
right. First name I see on here, Matt Forte. All right. We got Josh Gordon. Shout out the Flash. We got. All right. I see it. All right. Automatically, there's a couple Ohio State guys. I know Terry McLaurin's Ohio State. I know Ezekiel Elliott's Ohio State. I know. Who else is Ohio State? Zach, help me out here.
I'm trying to think, but I'm not as big on college as Jack is. I'm wondering if there's any Wisconsin players, if anything, because that's something that I would do. Maybe that's why Matt Forte is on here. Maybe Matt Forte went to Wisconsin.
Okay. Wait. Matt Forte had like a huge PPR season. He had one of the biggest seasons in fantasy back. Maybe it was like 2012 or somewhere in that mark. Todd Gurley has had one of the biggest seasons ever. Christian McCaffrey, Matt Forte, Ezekiel Elliott.
Maybe Zeke. Why not?
One off, one away.
One off. Okay. Well.
So it's these 4.
I'm trying to look around, and I think this could be something like something about like early fantasy stats or whatever. I want to swap out Ezekiel Elliott for Zach Moss, who was going off early in the season. I want to see how that ends up.
No longer one away. So I think we can know that Zeke is in there.
Okay, Zeke's in there.
Let's try Christian McCaffrey, Matt Forte, Zeke, and I see Bijan. He's another running back.
Yeah, let's try Bijan.
Also one away. Interesting.
So maybe Bijan's in the category, and one of McCaffrey or Forte are in it. Maybe it's just Zeke, Bijan, McCaffrey, Gurley.
I wonder if this has to do with rookie running backs, or maybe where they were drafted. Top 10 pick running backs. I was just thinking. I know that Zeke was a high pick. I think he was like 4th.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was a high pick.
McCaffrey was 8th.
Wow.
Was Todd Gurley also 8? Was he around there?
10. He was pick 10.
Wow.
Yep.
Real. You know what? Pretty cool category. Pretty cool. But of course, I mean, this is a Jack Rid. Of course, Bijan Robinson had to be on here in some capacity.
Yeah, and there's not much he could have done already.
And we also have Alex Smith, former 49er. This is definitely a Jack connection.
So Alex Smith,
can you scroll down a little bit? Can you scroll down a little bit, Jesse? I cannot see.
What is okay? So Alex Smith and Jared Goff were both number 1s.
What is Dalton Kincaid doing on here?
Yeah, well, where the hell? That's definitely some college crap.
That's the college one. That's for sure a college one. Where did Dalton?
Maybe he went to Ohio State. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Oh, no, wait. Ezekiel Elliott's off the grid, so I don't think that's.
No, it's not. I don't think he went.
Chris
to
Godwin, I know, went to Penn State, but nobody else on here did, because I did that as a category once, and it was hard to find receivers. KJ Hamler.
It could always be a conference like Big Ten alumni players.
I have no help on that. Josh Gordon. I wonder if there's anything about like having like a 200-yard game. Like Josh Gordon's done that.
Well, to be fair, there are 4 wide receivers on here: Josh Gordon, Devontae Parker, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin. They're all wide receivers. Let's see if that's a category.
One away.
One away.
There's also 4 there's 5 quarterbacks.
There's 5 quarterbacks and 2 running backs.
Wait a second. Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, and Matt Ryan have all lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Bang!
No way!
Well done.
I was like, wait a second.
Wow.
Here. These names look familiar.
Very nice.
Wow. That is, of course, the Patriots fan gets it.
I was like,
wow.
Why do I know all these? I was like, all these quarterbacks except Alex Smith. It's like,
yep. Awesome.
Except the Mahomes one was it was funny because Mahomes was when he was on the Bucs, so I don't always remember that Mahomes lost one because I just think of the Patriots and the Chiefs are out in the same conference. But
so you want to know a funny story about that? I made this like a week ago, and today I tried to like resolve it to remember all the answers, and I figured that one out, and I thought to myself, I'm like, wait, did I screw up? Like Mahomes didn't lose in the Super Bowl to Tom Brady. He lost in the AFC Championship, and it took me into like, oh wait, no, I was right.
Yeah, that's why I was like thinking about it, and then realized it's like, what do these guys all have in common? When I think of Matt Ryan, Jared Goff, and Russell Wilson, I just think of all of them choking to Tom Brady. So all right, let's keep it pushing. We got
for some reason I want to see if the 4 on the left side go together. I want to see if Zach Moss, Terry McLaurin, Devontae Parker, and Chris Godwin could be a category.
No.
Interesting.
All right. So
well, we were 1 away before with the 4 receivers.
We were. So
we were 1 away with these guys.
Now
this is 100% something with college.
Do you know where Devontae Parker went?
I do not.
He was a relatively high pick. He was like 20th overall.
I feel like I know Gordon.
What if we swapped out Godwin for Kincaid?
No, I'd rather swap out McLaurin for Kincaid, but if you want to try that, we can try it.
All right, no one away there.
Okay, so Godwin's part of it.
I will tell you, one of these categories is one of the weirdest categories we've ever had.
Okay.
So like weirder than my polls that I put in mine.
It's well, no, yours is like always some obscure stat. It's not that, but it's very.
Is it like played with 5 trash quarterbacks and it's Terry McLaurin, Josh Gordon, Devontae Parker, like.
Maybe it's something with like missed X amount of time in the league for various reasons. You know, because like Josh Gordon, Alex Smith missed some time. What seriously? What is Dalton Kincaid doing on here? He's a rookie, right? Like what has he done to warrant a spot on this list?
I don't know what the hell he's done. It has to he hasn't done anything in the league. So until the
he hasn't done anything. So it has to be a college thing. But like, I don't know where he went to college.
I don't think that he would put a top 10 pick and first round pick on the same board, though.
No, he wouldn't. Jack, we're
gonna give you overlap.
You're getting into my psychology.
I know.
No, I'm telling you, Dalton Kincaid is on here 100% because of what college he went to.
Was Josh Gordon ever like, I don't know, was he ever like a Jet? I know that Matt Forte was on the Jets. I know he was on like the Bears.
All I'm saying is that there are 4 names on here I wouldn't expect on any kind of grid, and that is Zach Moss, Matt Forte, Dalton Kincaid, and Josh Gordon. I don't expect those names on grids often.
Is this
so
like
I want to see if those go together.
Oh, is it? I know Dalton Kincaid. Is it like a height thing? Like he's tall. Josh Gordon is tall. Chris Godwin is
I'm
tall.
just thinking of players that I would never expect on this grid. I want to see if Zach Moss. We already did that. We already guessed that.
I just tried it because I want to see they're all like 6'4" or something.
Nah, Moss, Forte, Kincaid, Gordon. I feel like they all did something in college. That
was one away.
That was one away? Okay. So, hold on. We were one away.
Kincaid went to like, it wasn't like Iowa, but it was like was it like a Utah or was it like a...
I want to say he went to Utah. Maybe it's like a Pac-12 thing. Look, if it's a Pac-12 thing, then No, why am I thinking of Aaron Rodgers? I forget where Alex Smith went to college.
No, he
I
didn't
know
go to
Rodgers
Cal.
went to Cal. Maybe swap out Gordon for Alex Smith.
Also one away.
Ah,
So is it these three then and someone else? Oh, that wasn't one away. So we know
Hold on.
it's these 5. There's 2 one-aways in between that.
Well, just try those 4. Try Moss Smith. Try Moss Smith. Gordon Forte.
All right. That's all one away. Wait, we have to be like on top.
Oh my
of
god.
it. There we go. Utah alumni, man.
Ah,
Oh my god. Dalton Kincaid was a Utah pick.
Mormons, huh?
You guys were totally on it the whole time and just dancing around.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know my Utah alumni. Okay.
Yeah, my Utah Utes knowledge is not very good.
How am I? Josh Gordon.
How do you not know
Utah?
the Utes?
Really?
I was shocked to learn that too. I was shocked.
Josh Gordon went to Utah.
He did.
No.
All right, let's get this last one. We gotta go. So
okay,
let's get this last one. Devontae Parker, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin, and Matt Forte.
All.
I don't think he'd do another college one.
No, this is the one that I was saying is the weirdest category I've ever done.
Okay, all right.
Is it caught a touchdown from someone? No, Chris Godwin's only ever had like 2 quarterbacks. Terry McLaurin's never been to the playoffs.
Played with Jameis Winston in some point of their career.
Devontae Parker, did he play with Tom Brady? I mean, it doesn't matter. The other two didn't.
This isn't a Tom Brady thing. This isn't.
No, there's already a Tom Brady thing on here.
Yeah, and it's also that Terry never played with him. So
no.
I
feel like it might be like played with like several played with a Heisman winning quarterback or something like.
Yeah, that would be right up your alley, Jack. I could see that. Played with a Heisman.
I have a
give us a hint
for you guys.
Yeah, give us a hint.
Okay, so think about the team that you would most associate with each of these players, and then think about what those 4 teams might remind.
Commanders, Bucks, Bears,
Jets, Commanders, Bucks. All
Jets.
Matt Forte.
Bears for Matt Forte.
Oh, I think of him as a Jet. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just off.
Dolphins.
Jack, was Matt Forte a Jet?
Or yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was more on the Bears.
I personally, I think of Matt Forte as a Jet. Personally, I don't know why. I just do.
Do they all have does all of their teams wear like brown or orange or something?
Stick with Zach on the Jets.
Yeah,
the Jets. Okay.
So, wait, so Jets, Bucks, Dolphins, and Commanders.
Have their teams all not won anything in like?
Wait, yeah. Are all their teams on like a playoff like drought?
No, the Dolphins made the playoffs recently.
Oh wait, yeah, and also the Commanders did with Heineke recently.
The Bucks won a Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah,
different era of the Bucks.
Honestly, yeah, I was thinking
different.
Are they all? No, I was gonna say are they all like a some type of franchise leader, but that doesn't fit.
Did they all find a way to play with Mark Sanchez? They didn't. I know that. No, don't tell me they all play with a certain quarterback who was a journeyman.
Did they all play with Ryan Fitzpatrick? They all played with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Let's go.
There you go.
Oh my god.
No, you had it.
I was on the right track.
That was all you. You like lobbed that one up. I was like, wait a minute. Ryan Fitzpatrick has been on all these teams.
That was awesome.
Wow.
The alley-oop.
The alley-oop. All right. Good stuff. I gotta run.
At the same time, you're telling me Josh Gordon never played with Ryan Fitzpatrick?
I have no idea.
On the Browns?
I feel like they probably crossed paths. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, where was Josh? He was a Brown. He was a Patriot.
I think he was a Jet.
Was he a Jet?
I'm gonna check. I think he was a Jet.
All right, I gotta go, fellas. We gotta wrap this thing up. So we'll check another time.
I'm figuring this out. If Ryan Fitzpatrick and Josh Gordon play together, I'm figuring this out real quick.
Oh man,
I'm legit going to figure this out. All right, hold on. Okay, first of all, I was wrong. Josh Gordon was never a Jet.
Okay.
There you go.
Browns.
I don't think
You
he
might-
did.
Yeah, I don't
He's
think
right.
they
He's right.
No.
All right. Well, that'll
Ugh,
do it for
all right.
today's show. Thank you guys for a fun game. That was a good one, Jack. Good connections. I have one.
stuff.
We'll do it next week. So thank you all for listening. This has been week 8 of Pass the Rock. We'll be back on Monday. See you then.